Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a wonderful weekend and a happy Monday so far. Today we're going to be diving into our daily Cardano video, and things are looking good for ADA, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, things are looking good for the cryptocurrency market as a whole. Right now, I would say I am cautiously optimistic. So primarily, we are going to be talking about Cardano in this video. We will be looking at the chart on a number of different time frames. The event that we were calling for, which was your weekly MACD cross, has indeed happened. I will be showing you what happened again after a MACD weekly cross historically, because it is very positive. Also, lots of positive news for Cardano fundamentally, and with its ecosystem being built out. And we are going to talk about that in this video. We're going to be talking about Milk and Meter, who essentially have allowed or are a layer 2 on top of Cardano, kind of like a Polygon to Ethereum. But we will get into that in this video towards the end of the video. And I really want to just start with the overall cryptocurrency market. So we will start there now. And it looks quite chirpy. You know, things are looking good, ladies and gentlemen. And really what you want to be paying the most attention to when you're talking about the health of the cryptocurrency market is, of course, Bitcoin, because it is still very much that tide that rises and sinks all ships. You have had a weekly cross on Bitcoin. Again, if you look historically, whenever you've had this event, typically you have seen that continuation to the upside. Now, if we drop it down a time frame, pattern that we've been watching very closely was indeed this ascending triangle. Lots of people calling this as a horizontal. I thought it was more of a ascending in the way that you've got this kind of horizontal resistance with a ascending support kind of, you know, creeping you up and coiling you up, and you have broken to the upside of this. It's too early to really tell if you're going to make this target, but of course there is a target of 58k for Bitcoin. This, of course, would allow the altcoins to flourish, and that's exactly what they're doing at the moment. If you look at Bitcoin dominance, it's coming down, and your altcoins are actually outperforming. So things are looking good so far. As long as Bitcoin, you know, behaves, you know, there's no reason to really expect that altcoins aren't going to do very well. But when I say I'm cautiously optimistic, I'm still very aware of kind of macroeconomic events that are taking place, or not just macroeconomics, but, you know, macro events, geopolitical events, and external factors to the cryptocurrency space that may infringe upon it. We've seen that be the case thus far with everything going on, and there is still a huge threat from that kind of side of things. So I am certainly paying attention to that. But Bitcoin looks good. Let's get into it. Let's dive into Cardano, guys. Very quickly, I want to bring these two tweets up. Oh, sorry, one tweet, and one is a digital asset fund flows to show you that there's actually now an inflow, whereas previously, you know, funds, sort of your institutions, have been pouring money out of these funds. So the sentiment there has somewhat changed. But let's start from this tweet from Blockworks. Reminder, Coinbase will hire 2,000 people in 2022. The reason that I bring this up, and we have mentioned this before, is because crypto's at a very pivotal point right now in regards to where it may or may not be going. And we've got regulatory clarity on the horizon. We have the executive order that was signed from the Biden administration to task various agencies within the United States to essentially come up with a regulatory framework for digital assets. In my opinion, that's going to excel us to the next level of adoption, because it will get a green light from the United States. Now, there is, of course, the counter argument, okay, what happens if they come against the crypto market? Of course, there are going to be casualties on either side of the decision. But I would argue that Coinbase, which is a company that's probably very snuggly with regulators, certainly within the US, wouldn't be looking to expand this much without having a kind of certainty that regulatory clarity isn't going to crush this industry and in actual fact excel it. You know, they're trying to accommodate for a wider audience, and they've already been very profitable today. So just something that's worth mentioning when we're talking about the overall health of the market. This is, of course, your CoinShares digital asset fund flows. Now, this is the inflow for the first time in a while, and you can see Cardano is one of those funds that is getting funds flowing into it. Of course, Solana is absolutely smashing it, but Solana play that kind of VC game, if you will, that institutional game, quite well. Let's get into the Cardano chart. Big things are happening, guys. Technically, we look good so far. You know, we can see this is something that we've been watching for a while now. And the reason that we've been watching it, you know, I do think that traditional indicators on the cryptocurrency space have a less of a degree of accuracy. I think indicators are almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy in many ways, and that they're not the be-all and end-all. But one thing that is definitely important to mention is every time you've had this cross on the weekly MACD, you have seen that upside continuation. I've highlighted that with the green vertical lines for you. You can see every single time, even if we decide that we want to pinpoint the one that happened back here and not be biased, show us what it sort of meant even in a bear market, you can see typically you've seen further continuation after it. And in actual fact, if you look at what we've got coming up for Cardano, which is the Vasil hard fork, the other arrows, unlabeled arrows, list prior hard forks, there's typically always been a run up to the actual hard fork event, and then a kind of capitulation event, if you will, a kind of almost like the hype dying down. And that's what I'm expecting for Vasil. Couple that with your MACD, couple that with a number of other technicals. I mean, it doesn't look too bad at all on a smaller time frame. You can see very common that significant level of what is acting as resistance currently. We still have, because of the kind of structure of this downward trending market, quite a lot of resistance ahead of us. But it's very common when you come into what you'd think would be resistance that you kind of reject off it before you get that continuation. So I do think ultimately over the coming months, or certainly coming weeks, Cardano is going to continue to trend higher. But then again, this is crypto, anything can happen. Another reason that I'm quite cautious at the moment is just how sentiment is acting for the cryptocurrency space. It's very skittish. Things are high, things are low, and it's almost worrying just how flippant everybody is right now, and there's still so much uncertainty. You kind of need to wait a little bit before kind of going all in. That's certainly, it's not advice, but what I'm personally doing, although I am all in crypto. So yeah, next news I want to move on to. This is a tweet from Charles Hoskinson. Congratulations to the entire DC Spark team. It's a great moment for Cardano. The ecosystem is now EVM compatible. Solidity developers get coding. So Solidity, of course, is the code that Solana is wrote in it, but Solidity is the code, the sort of EVM, the Ethereum code, and essentially Cardano is around Haskell. But what Milkameda are doing, they're a layer 2, so they're like a Polygon to Ethereum, but obviously Milkameda to Cardano, and that's launched on top of ADA. And what they're doing is basically connecting the blockchains, so bridging that gap between Haskell as a coding language and Solidity. And it's really cool what these guys are doing. Essentially, there's a lot of things that it will enable, but one of the things that I'm really excited about is it will enable Cardano in the form of MilkAda, which is just ADA. It's referenced on the Cardano blockchain, or it has reference points to it, I should say. It will allow ADA to connect with the kind of global crypto markets, which is huge. Lots of liquidity will come from this, hopefully, and it will all go towards increasing the demand for Cardano at a point when we know that's just one thing increasing the demand. There's so much going on within the Cardano ecosystem. It's a very exciting future that we are moving towards, ladies and gentlemen, and things are going to start snowballing. Back to the hard fork, the Vasil hard fork. Essentially, this is going to make the blockchain. There's lots going on with this hard fork for the Plutus scripts, and it will make the blockchain sort of more streamlined, more scalable. It'll incorporate things like pipelining, or certainly upgrade that. And this is what lots of dApps are waiting to deploy for. So you're going to have a huge amount of dApps deploying from June onwards when this upgrade has taken place. But things are snowballing already. I mean, the total value lock continues to grow daily. It's just really, we're set to get stablecoins. Yes, some of the stablecoin projects have been a little bit delayed, but once the Cardano ecosystem has stablecoins, not only is it good for ADA, it's good for the entire ecosystem. And this is when, I'm actually accumulating, many of them aren't even on here because they've not deployed yet, a lot of tokens within the ADA ecosystem, because I don't think they're anywhere near their potential. I mean, some of them haven't even been built yet, let alone used and invested in. So that's quite a value proposition that I see within the crypto space. So back to Milkameda, this is hugely significant. Congratulations to them. They are the first. DC Spark, I think, were in charge of, the team at DC Spark were in charge of they are in charge of Milkameda. You've got Sebastian. It's very, very interesting. They also have Flint Wallet, which is one way, or certainly a way that you can connect. We will make the Milkameda video showing you guys how to use the layer 2. It's kind of similar, or it's similar-ish to my experiences using Polygon on Ethereum, and how you kind of link it all up and everything. It kind of uses MetaMask as a kind of base wallet, but of course you need to get your ADA into it. But we will do a video on that. So I'm kind of rambling on now, guys. that is really all I have for you in this video. Exciting things are happening. Certainly from a technical level, things don't look too bad at all. Just again, I am cautiously optimistic of everything happening elsewhere. And I think that it's going to pay me in the long run to be that, because we've seen geopolitical, macroeconomic, monetary policy really affect our market and markets across the board. I don't think those threats have gone away. And in fact, I would argue certainly we potentially haven't seen the worst of it, if that makes sense. In fact, it's quite likely that we haven't. And then how does that later on affect markets? But for now, things are looking good. We will, of course, keep you up to date on this channel. I'm expecting that continuation for Cardano. Don't be too surprised if it kind of rests here. Remember, you have, from the lows down here, made currently a 53% advancement without any kind of a serious correction. So there is always the room for a correction. Round about here wouldn't be a bad one. I have got a video with somebody way more experienced in markets, certainly charting than myself, coming up with various scenarios for Cardano that I will be sharing later on this week. So that's really all I've got for you guys. Thanks a lot for watching. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next YouTube video. Many of you aren't subscribed, so if you could please do so, it does the channel the world of good. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Mondays.